Welcome to the Cardinals Nest 2.0. This is the show where we interview St. Mary's University of Minnesota student athlete alumni and catch up with what they're doing now. My name is Dean Beckman, the faculty athletics representative for the Cardinals. My co-host is the sports information director for St. Mary's, Donny Nadeau. And Donny, on the Cardinals Nest 2.0 right now, we're kind of journeying through all of this year's Hall of Fame inductees that'll take place later this spring. And last week, we started with you. You were the guest last week. And this week, we get a 2-for-1. Barb and Doug Loahr joining us from the class of 1987. Barb, a women's soccer player, Doug, a men's hockey player. And so, Donny, I know you know both Barb and Doug, so tell us a little bit about our 2-for-1 today.
Yeah, you know, the neat thing about this is I had the opportunity to see both of them play when I was a student at St. Mary's, so I'm dating them as much as I'm dating myself. But you know, they were outstanding student athletes, and when their names came up in conversation of the Hall of Fame, I mean, it was a no-brainer. And the fact that they're a husband and wife tandem is really, I mean, it's a first. I don't know, you know, of too many husband and wife pair that are going into a Hall of Fame anywhere in Division III, and I think it's you know, it's really special. And you know, boy, I tell you, I remember. You know, and as I'm sure we'll talk here today, I just remember going back and watching the two of them play, and the committee certainly made a great choice with these two.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of neat that we both went in at the same time. We were very honored. That was a great phone call you made to me, Donny, and then I had to hold off. As you remember, you said, don't call Barb, you know, I want to call her because I wanted you to tell her. So I had to wait to call her. And
well, you guys have been very patient, because Dean, as you do know, but our viewers may not, is Barb and Doug were supposed to be inducted last March, but then this thing called COVID-19 decided to set in. And so they've had to wait over a year to be inducted. So their patience is wonderful. And to be honest, for me, to be able to be inducted with these two is really very cool for me, having known them as student athletes when I was at school. So that makes my induction that much more special, being able to do it with Barb and Doug.
That is pretty cool.
Ours too.
Yeah, very cool. Love that.
Well, before we get caught up on what you're both doing now, let's go back and talk about your time at St. Mary's and actually deciding to come to St. Mary's. And I'll have you both answer that. But Barb, let's start with you. Tell us about your decision to attend St. Mary's, why it happened, and then we'll go to Doug with that question.
Sounds good. Our soccer, when I was playing soccer in Park Ridge, Illinois, our soccer coach was the one who told us to go look at the school. And when I say us, it was myself and Stacy Iverson at the time. She married a St. Mary's alumni, Tim Merrigan. She's now Stacy Merrigan. And we looked at the college and fell in love with it the moment we drove into Winona. Being from Chicago, we didn't have that kind of beauty in the bluffs and everything. So we both went there and loved it and played soccer.
Doug,
how
about you?
Yeah, mine's a little bit, I'll try to keep it as quick as I can. I had no intentions to go to college after high school and stuff. I was not a good high school student. But then I made a junior A team, and I was shocked that I did that. And so I played a year of that. And then I went in the summer, I played in this, it's called the Olympic League. And a guy there was coaching there on another team. Do you remember a kid named Cliff Nitty?
I sure do.
Okay,
Absolutely.
well, his brother, he was actually in the league too, but they were on another team. But he came up to me after a game one time and says, hey, where do you go to college? Because he saw it on the program that I didn't have a college listed. And so I said, no, I don't go to college. He goes, no, you should be playing college. Well, I had no thought. I didn't think I was, and I'm not being humble. I'm just saying I had no thought that I could play college hockey. So anyway, he introduced me to St. Mary's, and so I got in. I tried to get in, but I got rejected. And then what I did was Ken Pellegrini, who's an absolute saint, and Tony Piscatello, those guys helped me get, and I went and played junior A again, and I went to community college. And then I came down to St. Mary's. So I didn't know anything about it, and I couldn't believe I could make it and play there, but it turned out pretty good. So yeah, that's how I ended up at St. Mary's. I kind of had heard of it, but I'd be lying if I really said I had heard of it. So
Well, and Donny, I was going to say Barb's story is one that we've heard before on this show from other alumni that we talked to. Once they come to campus and see just the physical beauty of the school, and then meet some of the people and some of the people that Doug talked about, Ken Pellegrini, Tony Piscatello, it definitely sells itself from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it was such a different time back when we were in college, in that there wasn't the diehard recruiting that there is now. I mean,
Right.
you actually were sold on the school more
Right.
so than the program, because that's kind of the way it was back then. And Doug, as you mentioned, I mean, junior A hockey, there wasn't all of these other options that kids had. You came out of high school and you played. You went, if you're going to go to college, that's what you played, is right out of high school. So it's a very different landscape right now than it was back when you were in school.
And you can double check this, but you know, I played junior A because I just wanted to keep playing, and so then I ended up playing. But one of the things that's kind of interesting, you can double check this, Donny, but myself, Johnny Brandt came down that first year, Dave Anderson came down that first year with me, and a guy named John Gorowski. I'm not sure, but we might have been the first junior players to come to the school that I had heard of. And it is funny, we came down, Johnny and I came down to look at the school during the summer, Johnny Brandt and I, and Barb and Stacy happened to be at the school at the same time visiting. And this is a true story. I saw them in this office and they walked out and we walked in, and I looked at John Brandt and I just said, I'm coming here.
And to interrupt, my friend Stacy is gorgeous. Blonde hair, blue eye, gorgeous. So if I would have seen her and I was a guy, I would have said the same thing.
So
What a great story. Doug, that's
Buffs
awesome.
and everything were great, but no, I saw my wife and I said, I'm coming here. So
Barb, talk a little bit about your 4 years of playing soccer here. I know you played under Dan, and
Right.
just talk a little bit about your experience as a soccer player. What was it like?
So Donny, when I came to St. Mary's, I was similar to Doug. I just knew I wanted to go play soccer. And in Illinois, soccer was not big. Soccer, my first 3 or 4 teams were with boys because there was no women's soccer. Our soccer coach, once we became a women's soccer team, Tom Sullivan was our soccer coach. And he just never gave up on us. He just kind of told us a couple different schools. For me, it was between Marquette and St. Mary's, and he talked me out of Marquette because of they were only a club team. And he said, you're not going to want to play there. And then he gave our names to Dan Blanc, and Dan Blanc, I think, came and saw us. And playing under Dan was so much fun. Again, I didn't think I just thought I was a soccer player. I mean, I didn't feel like I was any better than anybody else on the team. So it was very fun. And he was a great coach. He got us to where, we made it all the way to state.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways,
no,
wherever. We made it to California. That was how I ended my senior year.
Yeah, dang, UC San Diego just had your number. It seemed like when you guys would get out to California for the regionals. You know, I don't know if you both have thought about it at all, but you both were fortunate enough to play for, phenomenal coaches, both in our Hall of Fame. Barb, you mentioned Dan Blanc, and Dougie, you got to play for Coach Olson. Talk a little bit, Doug, if you could just talk a little bit about the influence that he had on you, not only during your 4 years at St. Mary's, but also past that.
Yeah, past that. Well, what's funny is, Coach he never really, and this is no fault of his, he never really recruited me. Like I said, Cliff Nitty's brother kind of got me down there, and I'm not sure Coach even knew what he had in the 4 players that we were and what we became. But when I got there, and Coach, he's just so relaxed. He never, he was just so laid back, and he was great. those first few games, I remember thinking, you know, I don't even know if I can play, you know, if I'm contributing or anything, but he stuck with me, and he put me with a couple different guys, and it was to see who was going to fit. And yeah, all 4 years, you know, I had two high school coaches, and both were pretty, you know, I'm not saying strict, but they yelled a lot, you know, but it was fine. It was okay. But Coach Ole, the way he coached was just it was so different to me. I just thought this guy's pretty laid back, and he was great. He was great. And then after college and everything, he's a friend now. You know, I still can't call him Don. I still call him Coach.
You're not alone there.
Yeah, and we've golfed a few times, and I know I really enjoy him, and I appreciate the opportunity he gave me to play. And he just kind of, I think maybe he'd say that he just let me play, and it was great. It was fun. I had a lot of fun.
Dean, I'll let you go.
Well, you both played on great teams, but you also had a lot of individual accomplishments. And Barb, let's start with you there. Not only were you two-time All-MIAC, but also you still are in the top 10 in women's soccer history at St. Mary's for goals, assists, and points. So, you know, just kind of, have you reflected on that at all? I know when you get into the Hall of Fame, it is kind of a time of reflection, and the fact that you're still in the top 10 in those categories, I think is truly astounding. And like you said, you weren't even thinking about maybe playing college soccer, and the fact that you were able to accomplish all of that on very good teams, I think is just incredible.
Right. I was blessed with phenomenal teammates. You know, you'll hear every athlete say that, but I Sue Steffen, Heidi Campbell, Carrie Ambrose, I'm going to forget people, you know, but we had a phenomenal goalie, we had great we had a phenomenal team, and we all complemented each other with our, you know, our way of playing. So it was fun. It was when you're going through it though, I didn't think it was anything special. Right? It's when you get to look back and say, oh my goodness, you can't believe we did that. Truthfully though, looking at those numbers, we played a lot of games. So they may be skewed because we did get to play a few more games. And you know, I have my family who's not big into soccer, my nieces and nephews, saying, I don't understand the points. Like, how do you have this many points, but you only have this many goals and this many assists? And I have to say, well, we would get 2 points for a goal and 1 point for an assist. So a little different than hockey.
Barb, I agree with your nieces and nephews on that. I've been doing this for 26 years. I don't get it.
I know.
As a coach, you're supposed to be teaching people to give the ball up. So you should get 2 points for an assist, not
Right.
a goal.
Right.
Yeah. And I was more of an assist person, but.
So Doug, I'll start with you with this question, and
Okay.
and it's kind of leading up to April, to the Hall of Fame ceremony. Have you started to think about what you want to say? Because I know from my standpoint, it's tough.
It's tough. And yeah, and you the biggest fear, and I know you do, is, you know, not forgetting somebody or something like that. But yeah, I've thought about it a little bit and try to, okay, you know, I don't have an hour here, but you know, no, there's certain people that I would definitely, teammates. I agree with Barb. We had some good talent. We really did. In my junior year, we didn't put it together, which I think might have been the most talented team. But my senior year, we had a great team. We had, you know, from Dave Anderson and, you know, Johnny Brandt and Brian Bowen and, you know, Mark Staub and Phil Suko. We had so many different good players. But I mean, if I had to say one thing, and you'll hear it on my speech, you know, I had a little bit of success. I agree with, but I didn't have gaudy numbers. I really didn't. I just loved to play. But Johnny Brandt made my, you know, we had a chemistry that you can't find. Some kids will never find, and I found it. So there was chemistry with certain kids. Yeah. So
Well, there was one gaudy number that I couldn't get past when I was reading your individual statistics, Doug, and that is the 41 goals you scored your sophomore year to go with 29 assists for
Yeah.
70 points. Maybe talk about that sophomore season, because that's a truly remarkable accomplishment.
everything went in the net. I have no idea. I don't know. It just was one of those where John or whoever, Dave, whoever passed me the puck, it went in. Yeah, that was a year just where everything clicked, and I don't know. It was just fun. That was a great year. I have my parents, Donny used to write the articles for us. Remember you did articles for us.
Yep.
I still have them in my basement. My parents saved this big scrapbook thing, and I don't know. I look back on that, and it was just so fun. We had a good team that year too, and we probably weren't as talented as the next 2 years, but things happened that year where it just everything went in, and I don't know. I luck.
I came into the picture junior and senior
Yeah,
year.
my
so-
stats went down then. That's right. After I met Barb.
No, I was gonna wait to ask the question, but Doug already mentioned that he thought the first time he saw you were gonna be his wife. But how did
True story.
that connection happen? How did you two end up together?
Well, St. Mary's is a small college, so everybody, and you either went to basketball games in the winter or hockey games in the winter, and I got into a group that went to hockey games. So Stacy got into the group that went to basketball games. It's just such a small college, everybody, and I thought he was kind of cute.
And you still do, right?
Yeah,
Right. We don't know
right.
about that. But.
Hey, I want to ask about your academic experiences while you were at St. Mary's, and then that can kind of segue into some of the things that you're doing now. But tell us kind of what you majored in, and if you recall some of the faculty that made your experience special at St. Mary's.
We were both talking about that. I majored in business with management and marketing, and I'm now working at an insurance company for my brother-in-law at American Family. I really don't specifically recall any professors that changed my life,
Sure.
but I didn't miss class. I didn't mind going early with a hat on because you didn't have to go outside because at the house everything was attached back then. But no, I mean, wonderful professors, but I'm going to blame it on all the headers that I did. I don't know.
Doug, how about you? What did you major in?
So I ended up majoring in business also, but I went there as a criminal justice. That was my first, and Dr. Vetter was my, dean or whatever you want to call it.
And
so
advisor.
Advisor, thank you. He was good to me. He definitely, and even after I changed majors, he kind of stuck with me. And I'm not gonna lie, college was not, it wasn't easy for me, but I learned so much. And one of the things I will say in my speech, Donny, is that I really appreciated St. Mary's taking a chance on me. I wasn't a great high school student. I had other things on my mind in high school. I barely went to high school, but that's something else. But when I got there, it just changed my life that they let me in, and obviously it changed my life. I met my wife, I have my kids. And so as far as the school wise, I just appreciate the school for taking the chance on me and sticking with me. I had some trouble there one year, but they stuck with me, and I couldn't be more appreciative. It changed my life, and I owe the college a lot for that. So, yeah.
I got to think, Barb, that I know the answer to this, but if you could just kind of think back to your 4 years at St. Mary's playing soccer, are there any favorite memories or a favorite story of your time here playing soccer?
It would have to be our trip to San Diego. I mean, what a great way to end a season as a senior. Missing goals. I do remember I missed a goal. But that would probably have to be the highlight. And road trips. I didn't play in high school. We didn't have a team in high school. I only played a traveling league. So and our traveling league was just local. So going on road trips and ending in San Diego was pretty phenomenal.
How about you, Doug? You have any specific stories that really stick out to you?
I was blessed with a memory that I remember a lot. I really do. But I mean, if I'm going to take the top, say just the top two, I remember our trip out to Air Force, and that was fun. That was
I'll say something about that.
Yeah.
Real quick. I just want to interrupt, if I may. When the soccer team went, we bussed with the men's league.
Men's team. Yeah,
men's
soccer
team.
Yeah.
They got flown out. They got
Thanks,
steak
Oli.
dinners. So I'll just leave it at that.
It helps when your coach is the AD. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. And
if
then,
it makes you feel any better, Barb, they probably wouldn't get away with that today.
right.
Good.
Times
All right.
change.
Title IX has equalized that a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But other than that, and they obviously my senior year against St. Thomas, that end of the year playoff game, even though we lost, it still was, I can remember everything about that series. It was just something, we lost, which is terrible, but it was fun. It was just that was a high pressured, fun series that, so those are a couple of the highlights. Yeah.
Not to give away any secrets or anything, but if I may ask, Doug, who is going to be your inductor for the Hall of Fame?
Johnny Brandt. And I'm going to have John. I asked Johnny, and he agreed to. And so, yeah, I would have loved to have Dave Anderson and a couple other guys, but when it came down to it, Johnny and I were still he's still my best friend, and yeah, we're pretty tight. So.
And how about you, Barb?
So I am going to have a friend of mine, Stephanie Anderson, who went to school right after us. But I got to play soccer here when I moved here. Mike and Joe Donahue and Kevin Donahue's sisters had a team, and that was how I got to know her. And she said she wanted to do it, so she's going to be the one.
Awesome. Good for you. Good for you.
I'll ask one more question, and then I'll kind of let Donny wrap things up. Have either of you had much of a chance to get back to St. Mary's recently at all, or?
We were there,
Yeah,
Donny. We saw you.
Last
We
year.
came back. We came down for a hockey game a couple times. Yeah, I've been back a couple times. Came back for it was an alumni deal weekend. Yeah, Donny. But yeah, and that is, and everybody will say it, but I'll say it anyway. The school is so different. It's just it's beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful when we were there, but it's a phenomenal campus now. And so yeah, we have been back a couple times. Yeah.
I guess the real simple question for you guys both as we close up is, has it sunk in yet? I mean, has it sunk in that the two of you are going into the Hall of Fame? I mean, it's just it's incredible to think about, and I'm just curious if it's actually sunk in.
Part of me is like, no, because it just hasn't happened because of COVID and stuff. But what I always tell Brian Sissons is that, I tell you what, when they put my plaque up on the wall, I'll believe it. That's when it'll kind of like, wow, okay. But no, we're both Barb and I are very humbled, and I'm excited, and I'm going to steal what Barb said, and I'm sure every athlete will say it, but when you're playing, you don't think about this stuff. You just play. And like I said, I didn't think, I had 1 year or whatever, but I'm so honored. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I really am excited. Yeah.
And that's one good thing about going to a small school is that, and maybe it's St. Mary's is unique, because I have friends that went to St. Ben's and they don't have anything like this. So you guys are doing a great job, and thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Barb and Doug Loahr, congratulations. And really thank you for joining us on the show today to kind of relive some of these memories. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
See you in a little while,
Bye,
Donny.
Donny. We'll see
Absolutely.
ya.
All right.
That's going to do it for Cardinals Nest 2.0. Thanks for watching.